Hello, this is Linda Jo Heffner, and I'm the author of Tainted Seas, My Sailor's Story. And what I'm about to do now is probably the most difficult video I will ever make. And it is essentially the fact that I know, as a Navy widow and mother of 3 children, that freedom is not free, that we pay for them with the lives of our military, and not only the military personnel, but their family. In 1968, I met the man of my dreams, my bud, my sailor, and I loved him with all my heart. He was the man I wanted and the man I needed. Now, I may not have known right away, and it took me a little time, and the man chased me. He chased me like a dog around campus. But I loved him, and from the time I met him, I felt like I always knew this man, like he was part of my life. And then we went on with our life, and as we went along, we did as most young couples do. We built a life together. Our life was around his service in the Navy, because my husband went from being enlisted to being an officer in the United States Navy. We suffered deployments, we suffered Christmas separations, birthdays missed, all the holidays, but we made it through, and I loved that man so much all the way through, and he loved me. He was totally devoted to me and to his family. And then all of a sudden life changed. It took a full tilt the other way. I always had an inkling that something was wrong with Bud, but he was so strong, he was so handsome. That was always so easy to dismiss it. And then one day, we just moved to San Diego, where Bud was going to be on a brand new ship. And we hadn't even unpacked the boxes yet. And I got a call that my husband collapsed at work. Now, there wasn't a ship yet. He was still waiting for that ship to be delivered from the shipyard. So I went in, and a whole line of things happened thereafter, but life changed. My husband was discovered to have an illness that was always a mystery to me. I mean, he was so strong, he was so vital, he was just a gentle giant. He was the love of my life, and I couldn't figure out, why would my bud die? So our life then flipped. We left San Diego on a military airlift plane, which was a whole adventure, a whole nightmare in itself, and arrived back in Pennsylvania, the place where my husband had chosen, and I had chosen with him, for him to die and for my children, our children, to grow up. And it was a tough time. And when you read Tainted Seas, you'll find out all the things we went through while Bud was ill. So if we fast forward, it's 28 days ahead of time of Bud's death. And unfortunately, he was in the hospital, but I also contracted mononucleosis. And I was so sick that during that time, my mother and father took our children to live with them. And then they returned right before Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving Day, I was still sick, and my mother was having dinner, and I love my mother and father. Without them, I would have never made it through. But it was Thanksgiving Day, and I was home, still recovering, still not cleared with the doctor that I could see my husband. My husband at that time, for the first time ever in 4.5 years of caring for him, my husband was in a nursing home 7 miles away. But I wasn't allowed to go see him. I hadn't been cleared from mono yet. So I'm there trying to recover while my children are having Thanksgiving dinner with my parents, with their grandparents, Betty and Charlie. And the first phone call came in. And the first phone call told me that my husband was close to death. I didn't have the energy, nor was I allowed to go to the nursing home to see him. And it was shortly after that I received the call that my bud was dead. It was November 24th, 1972, Thanksgiving Day. And I was there alone. So came 4 days later. I had the most unwanted day of my life. It sleet, it rained down sideways, and I had to bury my husband. When they gave me the flag, I sat there on my chairs as the rain pelted down in puddles all around me. And the flag that I was given off my bud's casket was waterlogged and soaked. It was a day I never wanted. So when someone says, freedom isn't free, I know it wasn't, because for the rest of that time on, we had to live our life without my bud, my sailor, my gentle giant. So guys, as you're eating your hamburgers, your hot dogs, and having a wonderful 4th of July, please remember that freedom isn't free, that our sailors and all our military personnel paid dearly for that price. So guys, this is not my happiest video, but it's the truth. It's the truth. And I think you'll find and you'll know that freedom wasn't free. Not for me and not for many. So I'm going to send you my virtual kiss, my virtual hug, and I'm going to turn my life around and try to smile through this day. Have a good day, and have a hamburger or hot dog for me. So this is Linda Jo Heffner, the author of Tainted Seas, My Sailor's Story, at lindajoheffner.com, saying, have a wonderful 4th of July. Bye, everybody.